Hey everybody, welcome to the Harland Highway podcast. And before we get started, oh my sweet heavenly Lord, somebody get a bagpipe, stand on a hill, and play me a song until your toenails curl up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Thanks to you, Barry Barnacle Lips down there in Brighton, Missouri. Charlie Chiclet Legs over there in Minnesota. We got Ruth Ann Rhubarb Bottom. She's got her bottom it's red and green like rhubarb. We've got Catfish Sally. All of you, you know who you are. I don't need to name all 12 of my viewers. But we just, as you know, we hit 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Couldn't have done it without y'all. And y'all is you and all pressed together. It's two words, but why don't you just foff if you're going to give me a hard time? But we did it, gang, and I'm here to present to you. I'm so honored. I'm so excited. And you guys were the reason for this. OMG. Look at it glitter. Look at it glisten. Look at it listen. And watch it go out in the woods and do some pissing. No, not that part. But look, folks, this is a plaque that honors the fact that we got 100,000 subscribers to the Harland Highway podcast. And I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be prouder. And it's all because of you guys. You're the subscribers. This is because of you. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to be so proud and happy to hang this on my wall. What a milestone. What an accomplishment. We did it. But then I realized that's just kind of selfish and self-serving. It makes me happy. I get to hang the shiny, happy thing on my wall. And I thought, no. I only got this because of you guys. Okay? And you know me, I'm a Canadian boy. I'm a hockey boy. And I grew up in hockey. When you're the champion, when you hit a milestone, you win a thing called the Stanley Cup. Okay? And what happens with the Stanley Cup is the team that gets the cup, they get to keep the cup, and every member of the hockey team gets to take the Stanley Cup with them and do whatever they want with it for like a few days or a week or whatever it is. And some of these hockey players take the cup to strip joints. Some of them go jump in the ocean. Some of them go parachuting. Some of them go to the zoo. Some of them sleep with it. Some of them drink Hawaiian punch out of it. They get very creative with it. And so since that's in my blood, and since I want to celebrate this with you guys that are responsible for this, one of our listeners, one of our viewers sent in the comments a Mr. I don't want to give out your whole address, so I think you know who you are. But let's just say the numbers 2263 are in your address, your at email or whatever address it is. So would love to hear from you. Make sure you get on the list. And even if you don't get on the list, I'm going to put you on the list as an honorary member just because you're the guy who came up with this brilliant idea. So make sure you reach out, 2263. You know who you are. You know, I feel like a Russian spy. You must reach out to me, Agent 2263. We must correspond and we must meet in Gorky Park and make the exchange. And then we'll get the plaque to you. And then we will proceed from there. Agent 2263. And he came up with the brilliant idea. He said to me, hey, Harland, you should do the Stanley Cup thing with your plaque when you get it from YouTube. And I'm like, oh my God, what a brilliant idea. So that's what we're going to do, gang. That's what we're going to do. And here's how it works. I want you guys to participate in this. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to be part of the celebration because, again, you're the reason it happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this plaque out to you people. Now, we're only going to do the first 20 people because if I did all 100,000 of you, it would never come back. We'd never see it. It would just take too long. So the first 20 people, we are going to give you an email address here. We set up a special email account, and its Gmail is hhp.fans@gmail.com. So Harland Highway Podcast, hhp.fans@gmail.com. And the first 20 people through will get this mailed to their house and their apartment, their home, and they can spend 3 days with it. And you can take a video with it. You can take pictures with it. And we want to see what you do. We want to see you get creative and celebrate this plaque and this accomplishment, not only with me, but with all the other viewers. Now, there are some requirements here, okay? The video can only be about 20 to 30 seconds long because we're going to have 20 of them, so we can't let it get too long. So when you do your video, keep it tight, 20, 30 seconds, and you can do whatever you want. Don't feel you have to be overly creative. If you just want to sit on your couch with it, so be it. But if you want to do something outrageous with it, so be it. Try not to destroy it, but if it comes back with a few cuts and bruises and burn marks, then, you know, that's the people on the Harland Highway. That's how they roll, man. Here's the other prerequisite for this, okay? It is a little bit bulky. It's a little bit big, and it came in this box. You can see this is a box here. We are going to ship this box, and you, the recipient, it's your responsibility after your 3 days. We're going to put a list of the other recipients. It's your responsibility to ship it to the next person on the list. So if you break the chain, we're going to know who it is. We're going to know by it not getting to the next person that you're the one that broke the chain. So here's my thing. We want to have fun with this. We want it to be great. So this is probably going to involve a little bit of a fee for you. It's going to involve probably, $15, $20 to mail. It's bulky. I don't know, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. We'd like you to mail it first class so it gets there in good time to the next participant. You're going to have to take time out of your day to go to the post office and mail it. You're going to have to make sure you label it properly, seal it up nicely. And so there's a little bit of effort involved in this. So if you're one of those people that are like, oh, I want to get in on that, but then you're not willing to put in kind of the work and the effort to do it, because it might be a little more time-consuming than you realized. So please, even if you're passionate about it, unless you're able to follow through, don't put your name on the list. But if you're willing to follow through, spend a few bucks to be part of our history here, we would love it. We would love it. So just please be committed, be organized, be on time with this thing so we can make it work. Because if you drop the ball, if you decide not to mail it, if you screw up, then this thing just disappears and we lose something cool. So that being said, yeah, be on it, be cool, and be willing to want to do it. And we look so forward to your video. We look forward to your participation. And I think this could be really fun. We also want you to, if you have a Sharpie, all the participants who get this, we want you to sign it. Don't sign it too big, because remember, 20 or more people have to sign it. So keep your signature at a respectable size. And you get to have your name on it. And then when this little puppy comes home to daddy, when little Silver Lynx comes home to daddy gonna hang it on the wall. So that's when we'll hang it on the wall, after I've shared it with you guys. And I'm so sorry I can't get it to all 100,000 of you. Holy smokes, I wish I could, but it's just not, as you can imagine, possible. And there's probably some of you like, I don't want that stupid thing in my house. Oh my God, it's been in the mail? How many? It's probably got COVID, that thing. How many people have touched that thing? Ew. Ooh, one guy took it to a strip joint and rubbed it on a stripper's buttocks. Ooh, it's probably got venereal disease. You never know, it might. I don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm actually excited to see what you guys do. So that's what's going on, gang. Our first recipient is the gentleman who gave me the idea to do this. Thank you so much for that, by the way. And this is going to be fun. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Look at that. Thank you again, everyone. So touched and honored that you would help me get to this place, and we're going to have some fun, okay? So let's go. Stanley Cup, Lord Stanley, bring me the brandy. So good luck to all of you. The first 20 that get through, let me give you that email address one more time, just so you have it. It is hhp.fans@gmail.com. It's probably going to fill up really fast. Apologies if you don't get on it, but get on it. And again, last thing I'm going to say, make sure you want to be involved in the whole process. You've got to receive it. You've got to shoot the video. You've got to go to the post office and remail it. You got to take a little bit of lettuce out of your own pocket to do it. So if you're on board for that, don't sign up if you're not, because it'll just ruin the whole train. Train ruiner. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Sam Tomato Paste Johnson down there in Missouri. Idiot. So there you go, gang. Let's get back to the podcast. Thank you again, and it's gonna be fun.
I'm a radiologist by training.
AM or FM?
I don't know if you have the pictures that I sent in, if those are available.
Oh.
That's a spray can of Pam.
How the hell did it get stuck if it's Pam?
He's been Pam-pooed.
And the last week of being there, we had nothing left. And that's the only time in my life I have stole like motherfucker. Oh,
what'd you steal,
ate
food?
Ate and ran out of the same Pizza Hut like twice.
Whoa.
Stole dumb shit too. Socks. Once you start stealing, you get away with it, it gets good to you. And then you're just like, I'm going to grab this now. I'm going to grab this now. First it was food, yes.
Dude, I was at
then
Rite
it became
Aid.
Dumb shit.
Yeah, last week at Rite Aid, I stole birth control pills and a douche. And it's like, I don't need these. But I'm not pregnant, I'll tell you that. And I smell great.
I smell great.
You're riding down the Harland Highway.
All right, hold tight on the Harland Highway Show.
Harland Williams.
All right, folks, we're here. Third visit from my bud, couple of silver-haired foxes. Do you consider yourself a silver-haired fox?
You dropped the fox. Silver-haired, for sure, yeah.
I consider myself like a silverback gorilla.
I feel more of that.
Right?
Sure.
It's like, where's my dinner?
That's
right?
more of my energy for sure.
Where's my curly fries? Right? Yeah. We're a couple of silverback gorillas.
I would agree with that.
Dude, we should go tribing later. You want to start a tribe or a pack? What is that called when gorillas have is it a tribe or a pack?
I think it's a pack of gorillas.
A flock?
Is it a pack of gorillas?
Is it a flock?
I don't know. There's so many different names.
Pod?
Gaggle of geese.
A gaggle of gorillas. That sounds good
like
to me.
That.
We should start our own gaggle.
I'm saying, if we're doing this, we can call whatever the fuck we want. We got our own gaggle.
What about a fuck? How about a fuck of gorillas? Let's go fuck around. Me and you. You want to fuck? You know what I mean? Like, dude. Let's get this happening. Let's get this going.
Dude, I love you so much. One fucking throwaway comment, and it's 5 minutes of pure fucking laughter. I love it, dude.
I gotta laugh. I had a rough week, bro.
What happened?
Do you have this? I don't even know if I should talk about this, but why not? I got in trouble for watching a guy, like an old man, have a bath.
What the fuck are you talking about right now?
No.
The gaggle would have a fucking meeting about your ass.
I'd be out of the gaggle. Roll him down the mountain. We got a senior
I'm
spur.
also seeing you as a gorilla just looking through bushes at some man in a tub. Well,
here's the deal. So here's what. Do you have neighborhood watch in your neighborhood?
No.
Okay, I have it in my neighborhood.
Okay.
I was doing my civic duty about 3 nights ago. I'm in a yard. I'm looking.
Wait, hold on. A yard? Your yard?
No, the old man's yard.
Okay.
I'm looking through the window. I'm watching. It's my neighborhood. I'm watching this old guy sponge off, like the sores, the psoriasis, everything.
Sores. Yes, sores.
Dude, I'm part of the neighbor. I mean, his bathwater looked like onion soup, to be
like
honest.
carnival water.
Yeah, like I think there was a layer of melted cheese on top of the crouton, but that was his nuts. So I'm watching through the window, and I get picked off by the cops for doing my civic duty and participating in Neighborhood Watch. And I don't know. I'm in a bit of a funk about it. Tonight, I'm going to watch a couple of women.
What are you going to watch them do?
Well, there's showers. There's people like to shower in the summer. So I'm just doing my duty.
Yeah, protecting the neighborhood.
So why am I the bad guy?
Now you're making me want to ask you a question.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to announce that smooth sack summer is officially upon us. You've heard me say it before. When you're out this summer playing, canoeing, throwing horseshoes, climbing trees, making love in a tent. I don't know what you're doing this summer, but we're all doing something, playing frisbee with a walrus. I don't know. But make sure you're groomed. Make sure the pubes are groomed and trim and beautiful from pelvis to butt crack. Make sure, what happens if you're out camping and a wild black bear accidentally rips your pants down because it smells honey? And you're standing there with a 1974 Bush. No. Manscape it. Manscape it. And thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. You get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code Harland. Yes, Harland. Summertime and the trimming is easy. And just in case you don't know, Manscaped are electric battery-operated trimmers. They're amazing. They don't cut. They don't pinch. They have little lights on them. They're smooth. You have no idea how good I look. I see some of you out there. I see some of you, your eyes just twirling, thinking about how smooth. Forget about it. So there you go, folks. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare your summer bod the way I have. And again, that's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Harland at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind. Manscaped.
All right, so when we grew up, I'm in an apartment now, so we don't have the neighborhood watch. When I grew up, we were in the houses, had the neighborhoods, and as kids, we would sneak out at night and sometimes just stay in the neighborhood and then go watch other people's houses.
What do you mean? Like just watch them?
Well, we had a guy, we were all curious about this guy. It was a single man. So my friend and his brother lived, I'm trying to think, about 4 houses up from us on the same side of the street. Directly across from them was this dude. He was a single man.
Oh, is he sort of like the Boo Radley of the neighborhood?
I don't know. This is the thing.
Okay.
He drove an old school, it was a red VW Rabbit. Remember those?
Oh, yeah. And also a vibrator in West Hollywood.
You're 100% right. But he had like 4 of those long CB antennas on his car.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Breaker 9, come back, Breaker 9.
And he had a couple of them on the rooftop antennas.
Of the house.
Of his house as well.
Oh, wow.
Grass was never mowed over knee high. And that's how we made our money in the summers and winters, was cutting grass and shoveling snow and things like that.
In Japan?
In Japan. We'd go around.
I love over knee high. It's my favorite city.
I can't even talk.
I'm sorry. I get so...
Yeah, I can see.
Sorry. So you're...
So this was a guy we were like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he like what's he doing in the house, and what's
definitely
going
the
on
Boo
in
Radley.
there.
Yeah,
So we were able at night, we would crawl. The grass was so deep, we would crawl and we'd go around behind his house and we'd just try to peek in and see like what he was doing
through the
what he was
grass,
up
like
to.
commando style.
Yeah,
no way.
we're all in middle school.
How many of
And we're
you?
just, like 3 or 4 of us, me, my brother, and then like him and another dude from the neighborhood. His brother and my younger brother were good friends too, but they weren't going out.
There
with
were
us.
4 of you.
At least 4 of us.
You know, one more and you would have been a fuck of gorillas.
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
We were just a gaggle.
Wow. So you're
And
crawling.
we would try to watch this fucking guy, and we'd
Yeah.
sneak around his house. We could never figure out who he was or what he was doing or anything, but he was the weirdest dude. And then we would knock on his door and ask him, could we cut your grass?
Yeah.
We'd like to cut. Nah, he wouldn't. He didn't want it cut. This is a very
Weird.
strange, weird man.
Did you ever find out what his game was?
No, but we would always sneak and lay in his yard and try to figure out what the fuck he was doing in that garage. And
Right. And the antennas, that's
the antennas
kind of
is weird,
interesting.
yeah. Like, what are you tapping into in there?
You know, it's interesting because I think every neighborhood has its Boo Radley. And for those of you that don't know who Boo Radley is, most of my 12 or 13 viewers don't know literature. Boo Radley was the mysterious neighbor in To Kill a Mockingbird. He was the weird guy that lived down the street, portrayed by Robert Duvall in one of his earliest acting roles. But there's always this one nutty, single, weird guy. Guess where ours lived? Right beside us. I'm not even joking.
What was his deal?
Mr. Jim.
It's always
That's
a
all
dude,
we knew him
too.
as
Yeah.
Mr. Jim, and he lived with Mrs. Naylor. She was this big, large, overweight woman. Mrs. Naylor. Mr. Jim was sort of a little short guy with glasses and bald, like the guy from Operation. You know,
yeah.
He looked like that guy, but with glasses. And he worked at like a safety supply place where they made steel-toed boots and helmets and hard hats. And we didn't know what Mrs. Naylor did. Same thing. Only house on the street with uncut grass.
Yep.
No plants, just the lawn.
No upkeep to the house or anything.
And the windows papered out.
Oh, that's weird.
That was
Papered out.
weird. And they just came and went. They didn't talk to anyone, but because we were right next door, me and my 4 sisters, Mr. Jim was friendly to us half the time. And then the other half, he was like, get the hell off my lawn. Like if you walked across his prairie.
Yeah,
It's
prairie.
like, he all of a sudden, the guy that was your buddy half the time, he get the hell off my lawn, and it freaked us out. But he would take us to Dairy Queen in his car. Like
He would take you guys places?
our parents were sort of cheapwads. They never took us for fast food or anything. And he'd just be able to go, you kids want to go to Dairy Queen? And we'd be like, we'd ask our parents, go in the car. My first experience, like he'd drive, he'd be crazy. He'd tell fart jokes. He was the first adult I'd ever hear utter a fart joke. And me and my sisters were just dying because he was an adult. But
Looking back now with the knowledge you have now, how old do you think he was?
he was probably like mid 40s.
Yeah, not old then. Yeah,
Not
but
old.
to, my daughter just said to me, she's 9, and she said yesterday to me, she goes, Dad, 40 is so old. I go, I know you guys think it's old. I know, but wait till you're 40.
Yeah.
She's like, we make jokes about 40-year-olds.
Right?
And I was like, what kind of jokes you guys make? And she goes, stuff like, I'm 40. I can't do anything tonight. I just have to wake up tomorrow. I was laughing like, you fucking punk ass kid.
Wow.
I was like,
that's
you wait.
cruel.
You wait. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but looking back, this Mr. Jim guy was the nicest guy. But if you looked at that guy today, you wouldn't let your kids anywhere near that.
No way I'm letting somebody drive my kids somewhere.
But he couldn't have been more fun, more nice, more.
Except when you think he was an alcoholic and having a bad day when he'd yell at you or some
No,
shit?
I think he just liked his privacy, and I don't think there's any alcohol. He was he could be temperamental, but that was the only time he'd yell. Mm-hmm. And then the only other thing is the other kids on my street didn't know him in the way we did. Like he didn't take the other kids or even talk to the other kids. So this was funny. We're Canadian. We'd be out playing street hockey, and Mr. Jim would come around the top of the street, and he lived right at the bottom. And halfway up, there'd be 14 kids with nets out playing street hockey. He'd see us at the top of the street, honk his horn, like all the way down the street. And the other kids didn't know him, so they called him diarrhea. They go, here comes diarrhea. So diarrhea's blasting, and he had a gremlin.
Great.
He was at a gremlin, and he'd be blasting.
Gremlin, yeah.
Diarrhea's flying down the road in a gremlin, and unbelievable. God. Isn't it wild?
No neighborhood watches back then.
No, God.
None. Did you have...
Yeah.
We had these things here in the States called tot finders.
Oh, wow.
They were like an oval sticker, and they were a reflecting sticker so that when if there was a fire in your home, the fire department could see that there was a child in that room. So it was a sticker you put in the window to let the fire department know there is a kid in this room.
It was like the baby on
Called
board
Tot
for
Finder.
flaming children.
Yes, for kids on fire.
They couldn't have just put a tater tot sticker on the fucking window. This kid's frying. There's a kid frying.
Sticker for kids potentially on fire.
Wow.
100%.
What the hell? That's kind of morbid.
You didn't have anything like that in Canada to
No, we
let
never
the
had
fire
the
departments
tot.
know there's children in this.
No. Good Lord. That's kind of dark. What did
Top
they?
finders. We also had. They would tell you in school. They would say if you had a fire in your home, that you should make a. Everyone should get out and you should have a meeting place. Okay. So we tell our dad. We're like, Dad, they're telling us in school if the house catches on fire. So me and I have two brothers, and we're like, we got to get out.
Can I guess the meeting place?
Yeah.
The house next door that's not on fire. Hello.
That was a better idea. We just agreed to meet out front at the mailbox.
Okay. Wow. You ever heard of residual heat burn at all?
And get away from it.
God.
And I remember my dad being like, all right, every man for himself. Like, hold up, man. What are you talking about? You run. Like, your room's right here. You're going right by us. At least holler in or something.
Really?
You know? Like, yeah, and our whole plan was to meet at the mailbox.
At the
thank
mailbox.
God we never had a family fire. Yeah.
Wow, of course not. Did they have bag tot?
What's that?
Like for the old bags for the seniors?
What is that?
Well, if there's an old bag in the house. Well, you said you got the tot. Did you have a bag tot?
It took me a second.
I mean, if Granny's rolling into the
Said it
drywall.
way where I was so sure Canada had this thing.
Yeah. What was it called? Tots?
Tot finder.
Tot finder. So bag finder for the oldies. Was there a tard finder too? Oh, easy, dude. Easy. Settle down.
There should be for sure.
Wow.
There should be.
Tards in the mist. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Did you have with all your buddies that you crawled around in the grass in? Did you guys have like not in where your houses were, but did you have like kind of a cool place you guys went to as kids, like a pizza joint or the woods?
We were lucky. Our neighborhood in middle school, and elementary school, we were the house where everybody would come play baseball and all that. But in middle school, we were very lucky to live in a neighborhood that had, even if it was just a mile walk, 20 minutes over, we had a good dozen or so kids our age.
Okay.
And we all went to the same middle school. You know what I mean? Like, so we were lucky. So there was there was usually always at least one other person that you could get to hang out because we had so many kids in the neighborhood.
So we went to the woods. That was the hang.
So 7th grade was when we moved to this one particular house on 2nd Avenue. And right at the base of all of our yards was the beginning of this woods.
Okay.
So we had a rope swing in there that we would go. We we built a wrestling ring in there.
Whoa.
Yeah, with ropes and like a mat and everything. We would have people come in. Yeah. The rope swing was the best though. And then was there a river? Did it go over a river? Well,
just
there was one bias, but this was just woods.
Okay.
This was just woods, and it was a big tree. Wow. Big sturdy tree that leaned up like this, but the thing was the hill dipped here. So you could swing
that's
way
the best.
the fuck out. And it had a notch on the side. And all of us would grab you and we'd swing
you
to the
out.
side so that when you swung around, you would come around. And then when the rope would hit off that notch, you would drop really hard. You'd have a fun, like, you'd try to hold on. So we would do that.
Was there ever the one kid that whacked into a tree?
There was a kid that whacked in a tree all the time. But the worst punishment ever. My poor friend, Chris Lamb.
Oh, Lamb.
This dude came over. He had a white Schwinn 10-speed, drove it right over, down the hill. I mean, he was a simple flat and then down the hill. Home was uphill. But to us was flat, downhill, right on the left. You ride your bike right in our yard, drop it.
Yeah.
And that he had a wicked stepmother. She was a real piece of shit.
God.
And he wasn't even supposed to, he was allowed to come over, but he didn't tell us that she told him he wasn't allowed to go outside.
Don't go in the woods.
So,
this is getting very Blair Witchy. Did you
just
pull his molars out? Is that where this is going?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. It had just rained. It's muddy as fuck.
Yeah.
And we all go back to the rope swing. And he wants to do it. And we're like, all right. So we do what we always do. We all swing over and we grab him. And I don't know. He must not have been holding on tight enough. But that fucking thing hit that. And when he bounced, he flew off of it. And he went fucking face down. Down the hill, sliding in the mud and shit. And he got up. We're like, oh. And we're laughing. Yeah, at this point, we still don't know. He hasn't told us. And he's like, oh, man, I'm fucked. We're like, yeah, you're fucked. Look at you, dude. He goes, no, I wasn't supposed to go outside. We're like, what? What do we? So now we're all panicking. What do we tell your stepmother?
The wicked stepmother.
And my mom was home that day. My mom was not a good person. Also, my mom left our family. The whole thing. My mom didn't like anybody, but my mom liked Chris Lamb.
Really?
And I was like, dude, so we're sitting here thinking of a lie. You know, when you're kids, you think you got a solid one. So we say, just tell her that when you're riding down the hill and you pulled into our grass, it was wet and the bike fell over. You slid and crashed in our grass.
Could be real. That's a totally valid.
But this motherfucker looked, I mean, he just
there
ain't no way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he just crawled out of a graveyard.
Like Rambo in the mud. You know what I mean?
Where the eyes just open.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Rambo
and he goes home and he tells his stepmother, and that lady punished him. She grounded him for 6 months and stuck to it. Stuck to every fucking day. To the point where my mother was even like, I feel sorry for Chris Lamb. Like, you're over here beating the shit out of us, and you feel sorry for this kid. But yeah, that was a good one in the woods. We also had a place too. So we would go to the woods a lot, and then that was before driving. Then when we started driving, our hangout, we called it the Carrolltown 500. So it was a little mall called Carrolltown Mall.
Yeah, malls.
And it was just a small mall. It was medium. It was an outdoor mall.
Yeah.
Had a Kmart. Had a Chinese restaurant that was great. Had a pizza. It was called Winlong Chinese, and they were great. Had a pizza place called PJ's. It was great. Had a little Mexican place. I do use that lightly. Called Gauchos. Wow. My mouth just watered. And then there were like a music store was in there, and a men's, and then a store for big ladies called Fashion Bug was in there. And
Fashion
shit like
Bug.
Yeah. Radio Shack. We had a Radio Shack.
They had the first two letters. Do you think they could have just gone with fat?
Fat bitch.
Just fat. What's with the sh and bug? Just throw a T on there. Fat, okay? Let's call a spade a spade. You walk past the pizza place, Kimmy Long's Chinese, the fucking Mexican place, and just come right into fat. Come on.
That's a good point.
You know?
Food, fat.
Save money on your neon sign. Just fat. Get in here, you chubby food court freaks.
But so the mall was here.
Yeah.
And there was a movie theater that was originally in it, but then they built one just out back in the same lot.
Do you remember how much it was to go to a movie back then?
Back then when I went, when it was in that mall, it was like $2 or $2.50. And we would go see, and you remember back then too, when I tried to tell my daughter, like when a movie came out, that shit was in the theater for a minute.
Oh, yeah, I was there for 5-6 months.
And if you saw E.T., you were either going to go see it again or you were waiting until some other shit came in. It wasn't Netflix where it's like, like it was, that was where you went and what you saw.
When I grew up, 75 cents to go see the matinee. You could go in the afternoon
maybe
and
the
see
matinee
the matinee.
was definitely
75
cheaper,
cents.
This was the 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. showing, $2.50. We're in there watching Police Academy, E.T., all that shit.
I went to a movie.
That was where we hung out when we first.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I hung out at the mall, too. I just, on the movie thing, I went to a movie here in L.A. last week. I went to see the, what's that one, The Quiet Place or whatever. Mm-hmm. I went to see it by myself. It was just like kind of a spontaneous, I wanted to see it. I had a window where I wasn't working. I go see it between the movie, the snacks, and parking. It was about $60.
Damn.
Yeah,
For
it was
one person.
For one person, it was 20 something for the ticket. It was 20 something for a freaking Coke and a small popcorn. And then I forgot to validate my ticket, and that was $30 for the parking.
That's ridiculous.
And it was just ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, the malls were great.
So it was a mall, and then we had a McDonald's right across the street. And we called it the Carrolltown 500. You would just circle the mall, driving around looking for anybody else that was out. And you'd see everybody because it's all we'd all do.
Yeah.
Then you do the loop around McDonald's. Then if you heard someone was having a house party, you'd go there. But once my dad died, we were 16, and my mom had already split. We get put into her apartment.
Okay.
And then she's like, hey, I'm going to, if nothing, my mom was consistent. She's like, all right, you guys stay here. And then she left us and moved in with her boyfriend. So I tell everybody, I was 16. I have a twin brother, was 16 at the time. My younger brother just turned 13. So the three of us I'll say my grades, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah.
We live in this apartment by ourselves. We are the kids in your high school that don't have parents.
No parent, yeah.
We are where... You say, was there a place where you went? Yes.
Yeah.
We, unfortunately, because you get tired of it after a while.
Yeah.
You're like, can we please go to somebody else's fucking house? And your parents aren't home this weekend. Can we go to your house?
Yeah.
You get tired of it.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's guaranteed at my house that there's not going to be parents.
Oh,
so
wow.
you could drink, you could do your drugs, you could do whatever. But we were
It's like
the
a
kids.
flop house, really.
Yeah, we were those kids. So that's where we hung out in high school. 912 North Avenue, apartment B. That's where it was.
Dude, I fucking love that. Yeah, I hung at my place. We hung out at a mall. Did you do shoplifting and all that stuff at the mall?
I was always scared to I've only shoplifted in my life. I'm going to jump around here.
Yeah.
I went to Europe for a month because I was very good at soccer. And my brother and I tried out for a Teams USA, like a development team. And we made it. And so we're we were a under 17 team.
Okay.
That went to Europe for a month. And the last week of being there, we had nothing left. And that's the only time in my life I have stole like motherfucker. Oh,
what'd you steal?
Ate and ran out of the same Pizza Hut like twice.
Whoa.
Stole dumb shit too. Socks. Once you start stealing, you get away with it, it gets good to you. And then you're just like, I'm going to grab this now. I'm going to grab this now. First it was food, yes.
Dude, I was at
then
Rite
it became
Aid.
dumb shit.
Yeah, last week at Rite Aid, I stole birth control pills and a douche. And it's like, I don't need these. But I'm not pregnant, I'll tell you that.
That's
and I smell
probably
great.
Smell great. You probably smell great.
At our place, we had the food court. And speaking of food court, holy fuck, this is weird. About 2 weeks ago, have you ever got a speeding ticket?
It's been a long time.
They're not cheap anymore. Like they used to be like $40. Now they're like $200, 260 points. So I get a speeding ticket. The guy's like,
out here,
and he goes, you can make an appointment to go downtown and do this, and all the way downtown, a day out of my life. He goes, half the time the cop doesn't show up and you'll get off it. So I'm just like, this is going to be a day out of my life. So I just took that ticket. I went to the food court at the mall, got curly fries, a slice of pizza, and an orange Julius. And I was like, fuck you. And I just ripped it up and had a snack. Yeah.
That's a great
So just go to food court with your tickets. Unbelievable. Delicious.
Did you guys have Chick-fil-A's in Canada back then? Do you now?
By the way,
I've been up there so much. Are Chick-fil-A's up there?
I think they're just sort of starting. But by the way, isn't that like the quintessential name for like the fast food name for a serial killer?
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah. That's where they're going. That's right in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, you think
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
What happened to Sandy? Filleted.
She's now Chick-fil-A.
Crazy.
We had in the mall, that's where Chick-fil-A existed when I grew up. It wasn't a standalone restaurant at all. It was a stand in the mall. And then we learned, like, oh, shit, it's not open on Sundays. When my mom would drag us to the mall.
Chick-fil-A's religious.
Yeah, very religious. But so is In-N-Out. They're open on Sundays.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. In-N-Out. Did you notice on the bottom of their cups they have a passage from the Bible?
Yeah.
Do you know what the passage is?
Do you?
I don't.
Yeah, but they're open on Sundays.
Yeah, they're open on Sundays. Sinners.
In
and out sinners. You're going in and out of hell if you eat there.
We were mall kids for sure. Like back in the day, I could tell you every corner of every mall because all my mom ever did when we were little was go to the mall and shop for herself. And my mom's big. My mom's 6 foot. Yeah.
What?
Bigger. My mom's taller than me.
How much did she weigh?
Back then, she was big, and we would go to this place.
And you said she was mean, right?
Oh yeah.
Did she have a Harley?
She had that energy, bro.
Fuck. What tattoos did she have?
No tats.
She didn't have like a flaming skull or a
helicopter
shoulders.
That was just on her shoulders.
That was her birthmark. Was a flaming skull. Yeah, she was mean,
This
dude.
lady.
Wow.
She would take us, and she's got 3 boys, so we're and we don't want to fucking be there.
Yeah.
We don't want to be there, and we're not getting anything, and we're told that on the way. That is the mantra. You're not getting shit.
That was like us. We didn't get any, so Mr. Jim would take us to the Dairy Queen.
Sense.
My parents were like yours.
Makes sense.
They were good parents, but just kind of cheap wads.
So my mom's taking us to stores called 16 Plus. That was the size. It started. Bro,
It's also a great place to go when you're going through puberty.
It started at 16, and my brothers and I would hide in the clothes racks, and when the big ladies would go through, we'd be like, ha! We would scare the shit out of them. They would scream, and my mother would be like, stop doing that shit! We're like, stop bringing us here. For Christ's
Stop bringing us to fat.
16 fucking plus
16
and fashion
plus.
bugs. That's where it started at 16.
Only in America do we have
Size.
stores that specialize in fatties. Have you noticed now when you go into like Macy's or JCPenney, they have the mannequins now that are big chubbies?
Mm-hmm. Looking more realistic, like people these days. And
like,
stuff.
I don't want to fat shame people, but
I'll fat shame a mannequin though. I'm no one to fat shame anybody.
Well, you're not obese, but these you're not unhealthy. You're a girthy guy, but you're not unhealthy.
Thanks.
These mannequins are literally kind of perpetrating the kind of fat lifestyle, which I get it. There's a lot of fat people, but I don't think you should be sort of like putting it out there that it's okay to be fat because it's not healthy.
Right.
Back to the food court. Did you ever have the food court with the Orange Julius?
Yeah.
Did you ever think about, because remember,
Here's the thing, it was never in a food court in the malls we went to.
Where was it?
It would be just like its own thing in the middle. You walk halfway down the mall and it's right there on the right by like Mrs. Fields or something like that.
And do you remember what it was? It was the only place like it in the mall. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was a giant fucking fruit.
Yeah.
It was an orange.
It was a big ass orange.
You imagine going to work every day? I'm off to the orange.
And had the big blenders. I loved, it's funny, and I don't even know if this class exists in school anymore, but in middle school we had home economics.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
And they taught us things I still use today. I learned how to make, not that you'd be like, no shit, but that's when I was taught the idea of a pizza English muffin. I'm like,
oh,
take English muffin, a spoon of sauce, and throw a piece of mozzarella or sprinkle.
Right, where you're intermingling foods that you never normally would.
That's something that lasts my lifetime. We would learn to sew, so I can sew buttons and things like that. But one of the things we made in home ec was an Orange Julius. And it wasn't as good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the same.
But it was pretty fucking good. But it wasn't the same, but it was solid. I'll say that.
I like my orange juice with a head on it. I want a head like a Guinness.
Like an IPA.
It's like a young kid's fucking Guinness.
Yeah, Guinness.
Oh, man. Then you drink it and you got that orange juice foam on your face. You look like you were in the Arctic exploring, looking for rare penguins. You know those guys? They come out of you see them. They got the frozen. You're walking around in the fucking mall, going to everywhere, and people think you've been looking for penguins.
God, you're making me remember so much. You know where else the Orange Julius was in one of the malls? It was right next to what we called Puppy Prison. It was next to the pet store. Next to it. You go to Orange Julius and you hear them yelping, so then you couldn't help yourself, and you go in and look at the poor animals and stuff like that.
They were hard to look at because you always wanted
sipping on Orange Julius, just looking at these poor
puppy. He just wants he wants some of that foam.
Yeah, he wants that Orange Julius. Imagine being in puppy prison all day next to an Orange Julius of all things, and that's all you're smelling.
Hearing that fucking blender go off.
And citrus all day.
Dude.
Torture.
You talked about lies. Like, you had to lie about some certain things. What do you think
Did I say that?
Yeah, we were talking about, you said you had to lie about something. It was I think the kid that went down the hill, you had to lie about what happened to him.
Stepmom, yes.
In your life, personally, what's one of and you don't have to divulge it, but I'll ask the question, what's one of the worst lies you think you ever told that was sort of hurtful to you or maybe hurtful to a situation or to another person? And again, if it's too touchy, you don't have to divulge it. But on the flip side, I'm going to ask you, what's one of the best lies you ever told that you kind of had to make for self-preservation or to get yourself out of something or to help yourself or somebody?
Great questions.
Yeah, really good. Thank you.
All right, so I do have two. They both involve my dad.
Okay.
Because it's just what popped to mind first.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
what
there
I
are plenty
wanted.
of other lies I've told that have hurt people. But the day that my father died, we find him dead in his bed. We have to call my grandmother, his mom.
Can I ask just, how did he have a heart attack in his sleep or something?
So very long story short, the same blood thing I ended up finding out I have is
clot.
what got him when he was 42. But back then, they just ruled it a heart attack. Since then, they realized that it's a genetic blood disease that my mom and brothers don't have, but I do. So by default, he had it, and he did have clots. So ultimately, they believe today that it was this thing that killed him.
Okay.
So and he had just gotten out of the hospital. So things were very tense and anxious and nervous. We were all very uptight and scared about all this. And then he dies.
Oh, so I'm sorry, buddy.
And it wasn't me. Thank you. And it wasn't me that had to call my grandmother, but we all had to agree that when they called, they would tell her that he was on his way to the hospital. She didn't drive. She was about 45 minutes away, and they didn't want to tell this woman, your son's dead. So the lie was, tell her he's going. We'll tell her later he didn't make it. And we had to be sort of on board with that.
Yeah.
And I remember when we finally got to my grandmother's, someone had told her the truth, and she was fucking pissed. I mean, rightfully so. She was hurt and pissed. We didn't tell the lie, but we didn't step up and say, that's not true. He's dead. We were there.
But this goes under the category from what I was talking about as a good lie. Because
you think?
Well, in a way, you were trying to be protective.
I got a better example of a good lie. I hear what you're saying.
Like you were trying to be protective of her feelings, her pain.
Sure.
And yeah, it was a lie which you should never lie.
All right, so let me give you another
but
one that really
you
hurt
did it
somebody.
for it came from the right place.
Man, I've told so many, I'm sure. And I'm not thinking of any that pop off that's like devastated anybody.
Yeah, good.
But I'll tell you this about a lie.
Yeah.
So I consider that for the right reasons, but wrong choice. To this day I regret doing that.
The grandmother one?
I do.
And just before we move on to your next story, was that story you just told me the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. Except for the part, my dad's alive and well. Totally alive. Yeah, it's all true. All right, so this one's pretty funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Harland Highway You know what? I forgot to do the intro. But we got so into the gorillas in the mist. Then we'll come back to the live. Ladies and gentlemen, we're halfway through the show. I forgot. We got so into the gorilla thing. You're on the Harland Highway podcast. Ryan Sickler's here for the third time.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you. Comedian, writer, podcaster. We'll give out all your credits later in the show.
Great.
And buddy, so happy to have you here on the pod.
Thank you for having me back.
And we're right at the halfway mark, so let's get into the bad lie. We're on the second half of the lie, and I ain't lying. Here we go, buddy.
So, you'll see why when I compare this lie to the last one. You'll see why I feel that way. So, I was terrible in math. Math was my worst subject. I barely could scrape by with a C, a 70.
Can I throw a quick math twister at you?
Sure.
Why don't they just call 7-Eleven stores 18?
I understand the math.
I'm not hearing an answer.
I really don't even know what it means. What is 7-Eleven stand for? Do you know?
Well, it's like the fat sign. They could have just said 18, but they got to give us two numbers.
Two numbers.
And guys like us who aren't good with math, don't mess with us. We don't get this stuff. Anyways.
I was just doing military time the other day, and I was telling Brandy, she's like, well, you just minus 12, right? I'm like, that's how you do it? And see, I don't. I told her, you have to understand how this computer works for math. It's not the most efficient.
I'm the same.
For military time, if I see 20, I know that 12 plus 8 is 20.
Yeah.
So that's how I know it's normally fucking, 8 o'clock.
And this tells me that you were just in Canada because they do military time at the airport.
I wasn't actually, no.
Oh, well,
It's on my car, and I can't figure out how to change the damn clock.
Isn't
on
it
there.
the worst?
Yes. I'm like,
in Canada,
I know what it is, but it's annoying.
They do it in Canada at the airport. So us who are looking at, my flight's at 4:30 in the afternoon. You go to Canada, it's like, my flight's at 35 o'clock. Well, lucky I'm in the fucking Green Beret. Let me get right over to Gate 5, Admiral.
35 o'clock.
You know what I mean? It's like, I ain't in the military. I also don't go to ballerina school. Just give me the fucking regular 4:30. What am I, fucking in training? Jesus Christ. Yeah, can I get some camouflage so I can get to my gate, please? Sorry, go ahead. I get so worked out because I'm bad in math too, buddy. We're kindred spirits in that way. Hey, everybody. Check out my merchandise at harbling.com. Yeah, most people just slap some letters or images on a t-shirt or a hoodie, but not me. Yours truly. Guess what? I draw my own designs. At harbling.com, you can see tons of my hand-drawn t-shirts. You can either buy the original or you can buy a print. And man, oh man, wear them loud and proud. I love making these designs for you guys and keeping it personal. So check out the whole catalog. We got hoodies, we got coffee mugs, we got t-shirts, you name it, it's there at harbling.com. Get your Harland original design, wearable art at harbling.com today. And thank you for your support. And I'll just keep the groovy images coming.
I would always make sure I had an A in my gym class to cancel out the C in math class so I could keep my 3.0 to be on the honor roll.
So even that I didn't understand.
See, I got that. That's how I knew how to do it.
9.0. Fuck.
I'll B everything else. Straight B's, C in math, A in gym, 3.0.
You're Goodwill Hunting me right now. All these A's and pies.
And you would get a discount on your auto insurance if you were on the honor roll. And back when Pizza Hut was a sit-down restaurant, you would get a fucking personal pan pizza. And we all would try to get that personal pan.
You gotta get that.
Take your report card in back when it was on paper.
Oh, yeah. And then when the pizza was done, you could slide it under your grandfather's bed and let him do his business. That pan came in real handy.
So it was, I think it was intro to calculus. It's 10th grade. And my brother and I, being twins, we intentionally were never in the same classes. There might have been one. I don't know. I don't know if my parents wanted us separated or the school didn't want us to compare. I have no idea.
Weird. Okay.
Every now and then there would be one class that would overlap, and this was one.
Okay.
We happened to be in this intro to calculus math class in 10th grade. Teacher's name is Mr. Mangold.
Whoa.
And the story's gotten back to him, actually.
Mangold.
So I fucking fail a test miserably, as I always do.
All the math tests.
And he says we got to take it home to our dad, and we got to have him sign it. So I just fucking forge it. Right? I turn it in. And then on Friday, I will never forget this. It was a Friday afternoon, and he was a cool teacher. He was very short sleeve, button down, tie, pocket protector, hair over, glasses, and leaned into the nerd. Told us he had some kind of sine or cosine curve. I don't even remember what the fuck it was on his basement wall at home. Like very into math and shit.
This is Mangold,
Mr. Mangold, good man, and he was also funny. You know what I mean? So
okay.
Friday hits, we sit in. We're in
funny
class.
Mathematician. You don't get a lot of those.
He was humorous. My brother and I are in there, and he gets up and he goes, "All right, everyone, Sickler brothers." And I was just like, "This is weird," you know. He's like, "Do you guys have different dads?" And right away, I knew this motherfucker. My brother also failed the test. I knew right away. He forged it too, and he turned it in. But we didn't tell each other.
Oh,
we didn't talk about I failed that test and I signed it. I just shut the fuck up and did it. But I was upset because this was my class to fuck up.
Yeah.
He was good in it. This was mine to fuck up.
Whoa.
And the class starts laughing. We're like, no. He's like, wow. And he holds them up in front of everybody. He's like, 2 totally different signatures here. And he's got a smile on his face.
Fucking Mangold.
I'm looking at my brother like, you fucking dick. You know, and he's doing it back to me.
Yeah.
So it's Friday, and he says, does your dad know about this? And we're laughing. We're like, yeah, I'm telling you, my dad signed it. He must have signed that one in a hurry. I gave it to my dad first.
Yeah.
He's like, is that right? Your dad definitely knows about this, huh? I'm like, we're both like, yep. Now we're on the same page. Like, he's right away like, yeah. He goes, okay. Well, tonight's Friday, and it happens to be buy one, get one at the Pap's Pizza down at the street. 2 for $1 pepperoni pizzas. And I usually take the family out in the van. We get the pepperoni pizzas. We head home. We have Pap's Friday night pizza.
In a van.
But on the way home tonight, I'm going to stop by your house. And we're like, no, you're not. He's like, oh, I am. Yeah. He's like, is your dad going to be there tonight? We're like, actually, yes, he is.
He's in the bed.
We're the fucking thought finder. So I'm like, yeah, he's going to be there.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm going to stop by tonight. We're like, no, you're fucking not.
Whoa, dude. Busted.
We leave school. Both of us forget all about it.
Oh, no. It's like that guy from Fast Times at Ridgemount High when he showed up at Spicoli's house. Okay. Yeah.
Swear to God, this is a true story. And I have visual proof. You'll see.
God.
So we both forget about it. It's Friday night. Now we're twins, and we only have one car. It's my weekend to have the car. Soon as I get home, I'm fucking gone.
What kind of car?
Back then, we had a 1977 Dodge Aspen station wagon, limited edition, with tinted windows and wood paneling. That was our first car.
So you were a virgin? Yeah. Wow.
At the time, I was.
Yeah.
Also, the funny thing, I say this on my podcast.
You should have maybe lied about that. If you're going to lie, you should have lied about what kind of car you had.
That car was my cousin's, a different cousin's wedding limo. And then when they were done, they sold it. That was the car they drove away in. I swear to God.
They hung the tin cans
Just
on the front.
married. Yeah. It had tin cans on it and everything. I got a picture of it.
Wow. Okay, so this guy, does he show up?
So I'm out all night.
Yeah.
And I come home. And when I come home, my dad's just like, God, you guys are so fucking stupid. I'm like, what? He's like, Mr. Mangold came by. And that's when it hits me. He says, I was like, no, he did not. And my brother's there with him. He's like, yeah, he did. I'm like, there's no way he fucking rolled by.
Mangold.
Like, Ryan. It was Pap's Pizza. He had his family in the van in our driveway. I was like, he made him wait in the car.
The family. They're sitting there eating pizza.
Came with the fucking test to show my dad.
No.
And thank God, like, my dad was very firm but fair.
Yeah.
And the way Mr. Mangold came with a laugh and shit, like, my dad was just like, you two are stupid motherfuckers. Okay. You deserve the 0, you know?
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know, they take a picture. And my brother's like, we have proof. We have a picture. He came. And I was like, no way. Because back then, it wasn't like click and text me like, look who's here.
Yeah.
We got to take that shit to Rite Aid or wherever, get it developed, the whole thing. My dad dies, I don't know, within a month of that maybe. Jesus. And when we had, when we finally came back to school after it, Mr. Mangold pulls me aside and he's like, I got to ask you, that was very recent. Is that the last picture ever taken of your father? And I was like, holy fuck, it is. So we went and got it developed. What? And to this day, I got the picture of my dad in a gold hoodie standing there shaking Mr. Mangold's hand at our house.
No way.
He showed up. And here's the thing, Harland Williams. I got chills saying it.
Yeah.
If we don't cheat, like this one blows me away.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back literally to my dad's ball bag. We end up being twins. We have this fucking class together.
Yeah.
We both fail a test that my brother usually passes. And we both simultaneously think, I'll just forge it. I'm not going to fucking tell him. We'll keep this shit quiet. And if we don't do all of that, we don't have that fucking picture of my dad. Wow. It's wild to me. So that's when I compare a positive lie to a negative. That's what I'm saying. Like, that was a dark thing to protect someone, but not a good choice.
The outcome from your forged signature lying left you with a beautiful, sentimental, visual memory of your dad.
100%.
And the moment, and the lie, because Goldfinger was there, or whatever his name is, you know? Dude, that's hilarious. Goldfinger. What was his name? Goldman?
Yeah, Goldfinger. Mr. Mangold.
Mangold.
So I told that story at a show in Baltimore, and some people were there. My friend Aileen, who I went to high school with, comes, and she's like, he's still like my neighbor. I was like, he's still alive. She's like, yeah, and she told him the story.
Does he still have the rape van?
And he said, well, he goes, I remember it slightly differently. I was like, well, I wasn't there when they came, so I was like, if there's ever any time he wants to tell, I would love to hear his point of view, like, hey, babe, these two kids in my class lied, and we're going to swing by their house real quick. I'm going to put them on the spot. I would love to hear what was going on his side.
Yeah. And the family sitting in the driveway. I wonder if there's a proctologist out there somewhere named Goldfinger.
100%. 100% there is.
Right?
For sure. For sure. I guarantee it. Why wouldn't there be? I'm sure there is.
Buddy, with the thing with the twins, and if you get asked this all the time, just move on. But the fact that you guys individually did the forged signature, which isn't a common thing. To forge a signature, it's not like something you come up with every day. Do you think that was one of those twin things where you kind of think the same? And on that comment, did you and your brother have a lot of moments like that where you sort of had parallel thoughts at the same time, or is that sort of a myth?
I'll say this. Yes and no to your first question, and here's why.
Well, then I'm left with no answer.
So, yes, I think it was a twin thing in the sense that, here's why, though.
Okay.
I'll answer the second one later, which is more of that double mint thing you're talking about. With
my
I
favorite
hurt my hand, and he feels it over here.
Okay, yeah.
He's jerking off or whatever.
Well, I didn't ask about that. We could just get back to the family in the driveway eating a pizza. I don't.
Pepperoni pizza.
Okay.
2 for 1. So I think that was a twin thing in the sense that we shared a car. And anytime one of us fucked up, the punishment was, all right, Harland gets it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like, fuck.
Right.
So I got to be your passenger. If I want to go out in the car, which I do, I got to go wherever the fuck you want to go.
Oh, yeah. And in those days, you love driving. Right. When you're just getting started.
You just...
Oh, it's the best. Put the radio on, drive.
So I think the twin part of us was like, shit, if he finds out I'm getting the car taken away, so we shut the fuck up about that. Like, we would talk.
Yeah.
But somewhere between that Monday to Thursday, we did that, and neither one of us said to each other, I forged that fucking shit. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I never thought it would come back to bite me in any way.
Look how it came back, though. Where do you keep the pictures? Is it in your house?
It's framed in my home, yes, 100%.
So you see it every day?
Every day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful.
Every day.
That's freaking really cool.
And I don't think I would have remembered it being the last photo if he didn't. I'm so glad he thought that.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be a wild thing to approach a 16-year-old kid and be like, hey, is that the last photo ever taken of your father? Yeah. You know, so.
Amazing.
Twin thing. So there's that.
Yeah.
There's a couple weird things. In middle school, like I said, we were always separated. And we would have a couple of cool teachers that would tell me, like, hey, I just pull you aside real quick and be like, hey, I gave the same writing assignment to your brother today, and look at this. And we would have almost the same thing written.
Yeah. Oh,
and that was off the top. Like, they would tell you, come in today and be like, and I wouldn't be like, hey, we wrote about this in her class today. You know, I wouldn't see them.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And this is a dumb one, but this was the one where I was like, holy shit. And
Okay.
no one else could have gave a fuck.
Okay.
So
Here we go.
I hadn't seen him in a few years. This is stupid. I go back, we're all hanging out, and I have this particular pair of Adidas shoes that you don't see them.
Okay.
This motherfucker walks in the house with the same goddamn pair of shoes on.
They're
The same.
really
And I was
rare.
like, yes. And I was like, what the? He's like, what? I go, we got the same fucking shoes on. And no one could have gave a fuck.
And
But-
you were wearing them
but I'm a
that
twin.
day?
Yes.
Oh,
To visit.
So not only are they rare, you're wearing them on the same
And
day.
I don't call him up and be like, I got these shoes.
Yeah.
And he,
That's
same
wild.
fucking pair of shoes. And I know that's stupid. It's not like
No,
a pair
it's-
of penny loafers. They were different. I don't remember what they were at this
Yeah.
time, but they were a different pair. And he had them on. And the
Amazing.
two of us were
Yeah.
surprised. And we're the twins. Everybody
Yeah.
else is like, whatever. But
Whatever.
I've never had any of those feelings like, hey, my brother's in trouble, call him, and he is, or anything like that.
Never been any like deep emotional thing, like he's in severe pain or depression, and you've felt any residual. Okay.
No, none of that. We're fraternal anyway, not identical.
Okay.
We're separate eggs,
You are?
And I always believe this. I always tell him I'm his older brother because he's technically born first. He was born at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I was born at 1:04. I'm 4 minutes later.
Wow.
And but this is an interesting. We may have talked about this before. We talk about life beginning when you're born. Harland's born at 1 p.m. on this date at this time.
Yeah.
I technically believe that I'm older. I believe my egg was older. It was the first one formed.
Why do you?
I believe that in that womb, we just got moved around, and I came out second.
Right. Are you saying that based on an ultrasound that you
Say it based on my own fucking
your own
opinions.
vibe?
I love to tell him all the time, I'm your older brother. And he's
Yeah.
like, you're not. I was born first. I'm like, yeah, but my egg was formed first. And
Yeah.
I shoved you out.
Yeah.
So it always
Wow.
does. So when I hear about people talking about when life begins and all this stuff and abortion and all these things,
Yeah.
it's always like when do we say life begins? You never consider twins, triplets, or any of that. Life begins, according to the hospitals, when they pull you out and say, this is when you're born.
Right.
If it began earlier,
Yeah.
you would date that egg back far enough and go, well,
Right.
that one's older right there.
Yeah.
That person's older.
And we could tack
But we
a year.
define. I know we don't say life begins when you come out of the body, but it certainly is happening inside the body. And since it is, you should take the age into consideration.
Yeah.
Why are we this when we come out of the body? Why immediately are we? Well, that's your date, your birthday, your time, your all
Right.
that.
Huh. And there's no way to disprove your theory.
I don't
You
think-
could
maybe
have
today there is.
You could have pushed him around
Yeah.
and
He
purposely
came out a breech baby. He came out ass first. So we
he was
obviously
in a
were,
bathing suit?
Yeah. We were obviously moving around in there quite a bit. And I think about this, like I've only ever had 4 minutes of peace to myself on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's the 4 minutes he got yanked out of there and I was still in my
Yeah,
mother's
why didn't
room.
you stay in a little longer?
Other than that, I've had a person with me from the get-go.
Well, wait a minute. When you come out as twins, is there 2 umbilical cords?
Yeah, because we're separate eggs.
Oh, weird.
Separate zygotes, bro.
So your mother had 2 umbilical
My
cords
mom,
coming
and
out.
Thing is, the
That's a
only
little weird.
thing we have is, like, that's a good question.
What?
2 umbilical. It would happen. Well, my mom only has one. God, I don't know.
Was there 2 or were you both sucking on the same
I
one?
wonder if it forks and splits off of the main one. You know what I
You're
mean?
like a cable. Maybe
or
we should
we
have
just
someone at
separate
Radio
egg.
Shack.
I'm Googling that as soon as we're done. I want.
Were you born at Radio Shack?
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
get the wire cutters. Split this thing.
But my mom took. So I'm born in March of 73, which means she got pregnant in 72. So my mom's taking these. They couldn't have kids. Well, they were having trouble getting pregnant. So she takes fertility pills, and that's it. That's why we're twins. There's no bloodline of twins in our family at all. We're just.
Isn't it weird
Science
that the
experiment from the 70s.
umbilical cord plugged into our stomachs? Like it didn't plug into our mouth where you'd think we would feed. It's like in our stomachs. And then they cut it And then this is going to be a little gross, but the other day I saw a homeless guy bent over a garbage can trying to shit out of his belly button. He was so drunk he thought it was his asshole.
Was that part of the neighborhood watch? Or
Well,
was that...
might have been. It does. If you really look at your belly button, it looks like a second asshole.
Listen, we are definitely the aliens. Like, we only grow up here and we hear, like, well, a human grows inside the stomach and then it's fed through this tube and all.
Right,
That's alien
so
shit. If
it's
we
so
heard
weird.
that from anybody else, we'd be like, that's alien shit. We are the aliens.
And
here.
plus, we're air breathers. And for all that time, for 9 months, we're floating around in a liquid world. How are we even?
Yeah.
How are we even breathing? How are we even?
It's amazing.
How do we do it?
It's amazing.
You're amazing.
Thanks, Harland Williams.
Thank you. Did I just fall in love with you?
I hope so, bro. I hope so.
I do too. I need more love in my life. God, you want to go to Pizza Hut later?
Yeah, you want to? I'll come over here and neighborhood watch with you one night. I would
We'll
love
just
it.
watch each other. Hi, cinnamon tears. just staring at each other. All right, let's do our last creepy.
Okay.
Let's do our final segment. You know it well. Words from a wooden shoe. We reach into the authentic Dutch clog, pull out a word, see if it sparks a story, buddy. Okay, you always have good ones.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, oh
Just
yeah,
keep
you
it
can
back here?
wear it if you want. Oh yeah, ruffle around.
This one is here.
What do you got, guy? What do you
have-
got, my guy?
River.
Oh, river. Interesting.
I got a couple river stories.
Ooh.
I think my favorite one, this is just a simple, quick one, but my dad took us to, my dad was in the Navy during Vietnam, and he had a buddy that had reached out to him. We were in probably ninth grade, probably like 13, 14 years old at the time.
Okay.
The guy from the Navy reaches out and says, hey, I'm in Minneapolis. Got 2 boys, your kid's age. Why don't you come out? We'll hang out and catch up. So we do. My dad's like, what do you think? And we're like, yeah, let's go do it.
Do you know what time he reached out?
I don't
2,300 hours.
I think it was 3,500. 35
Sounds
o'clock.
about right. Okay, 35 o'clock. Right. Well, you said he was in the military. I'm just.
It's a great callback. And so we fly to Minneapolis and we go hang out with his buddies. His buddy and his boys, and these boys are hellions, man. These kids, they would cuss nonstop in front of their dad.
Wow.
And my dad looked at me at one point. He's like, should I let you guys cuss? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, it's never fucking happening. Wow. And so my dad would like him. They're inside drinking beers, like, go outside and play. And these kids take us to the golf course next door. They were hellions, man. They loved it.
Just troublemakers.
And they would pull their pants up to the knees and go wade in the ponds and
yeah.
find golf balls. And then the next day we go back and sell the shit out of it. I'm like,
right.
what the fuck? We're breaking into the golf courses and doing this.
Yeah.
They took, I'll never forget this, they each had one fireproof glove on, and they dipped a tennis ball in gasoline. They lit that motherfucker on fire. And right in front of the house, in the middle of the street, they're playing catch with this fucking thing. Like, this is how these kids were. So they tell us we're going to go to the Mississippi River. And I was like, first of all, I didn't know the Mississippi even went into Minnesota. I just thought it was, I had no idea it got up there, but it did. And it was really, went to a section that was a good fucking distance. And I was like, I think I could swim that.
The Mississippi?
Just side, just
cross, of course.
Yeah.
Not, I didn't think lengthwise. It's one of the longest. You don't know math, do you? It's one of the. I think it's one of the top 5 longest rivers in the world.
It's up there. But also, they're ridiculous. I mean, saying bank to bank in this one section of the river was far, but it wasn't as far as some of them.
Okay,
you need a boat to get across, you know?
Yeah.
So the one kid says he's going to do it, and his dad's like, he's done it before, and he's about halfway out.
And there's a current in that river.
There's a current.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Whoa.
And I did it. I
swam the Mississippi?
I swam bank to bank in this one section of it where it
Whoa.
wasn't crazy.
I'm impressed.
But I can sit here and honestly say I've swam in the Mississippi.
Do you remember how, on a scale of 1 to 10, what the current was like when you were cutting across?
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't bad.
Spot.
Okay,
it wasn't terrible in that spot.
That's a mighty river.
Maybe like a 2. Yeah,
Okay.
we weren't stupid, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it was a long swim. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a long swim.
That's
was for
mighty,
sure.
mighty river.
Mighty miss, bro.
I mean, freaking, coal barges go down the middle of that thing.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Amazing. The Mississippi River. I'm glad you made me pull that out.
Yeah, that's what she said. Buddy, tell the crew. Tell them about your podcast. You have 2, maybe 3 now. Tell them about your tour.
Yeah.
Tell them about everything, my guy.
First of all, check out the Honeydew podcast and start with Harland's episodes, of course. I also have a new podcast called The Way Back, which is sitting on that old station wagon back seat, looking out into traffic, and Harland's monkey story and fucking hey stupid is
Hi, stupid.
hi stupid. That's it. It's still something we laugh so hard about.
Good.
Check that out. It's called The Way Back. It's all nostalgia. It's a short little 30-minute pod, and I do a Patreon called The Honeydew with Y'all, where I do the Honeydew with regular people, and it's the wildest show on Patreon. My tour, I start back on the road in September. All my fall dates, you can catch everything on my website at ryansickler.com.
And don't forget to mention your special, your last special that you put out.
My special Lefty Son is on YouTube. Please go watch it, support it, comment, help it out. My goal is 1 million. YouTube demonetized it and flagged it.
Why?
After 2 weeks, I was at 550,000. They said I glorified marijuana. I finally got the official in writing from them.
What are we, 3 years old?
And they said, we don't agree with our policy. Like, if I would have glorified alcohol or even had alcohol commercials, now you can have alcohol ads in your YouTube. So anyway, it's around 880,000, which I'm still happy with, but I still want that
Get
million.
on there and pump it up for the kid. Come on.
Thank you, Harland Williams. I love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy. Ryan Sickler, everybody. Stay honest. Stay true. Learn some math. And tribe up. And until next time, everybody, chicken chow mein. We'll see you next time on the Holla Highway podcast. Hey everybody, how would you like your very own personal video message from me, yours truly? It's your birthday, it's your anniversary, it's your graduation, or you just want me to make you laugh? You get to pick the topic you want me to discuss, give me some talking points, and off we go. You can get it for yourself or get it for a friend. It's super easy and fun. Just go to the Cameo app on your phone or to cameo.com. And I record a custom video made just for you or your loved one. Your very own personalized Harland.